Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an update for my No Pan Left Behind and Project Level Up. I have combined both of these projects into one video to make it a little bit easier on myself. Project Level Up was created by Sophie Alexandra. You randomize an eyeshadow palette, and for level 1 you must use every shade in the palette one time and hit one pan. Level 2, use every shade in the palette 2 times, hit 2 pans, etc. I am going to level 3 and then I'm going to restart at level 1. I do have the caveat, if it's an eyeshadow I'm really not going to hit pan on. 30 uses also is good for me, and No Pan Left Behind, I'm also randomizing the palette and I just have to use every shade in that palette one time. I did miss last update because I'm just so behind on my YouTube filming schedule and like all the videos I want to film that I just decided to cut my losses, and I'm going to make sure I get a March update up for you guys. So here I am. I'm going to start off with No Pan Left Behind update first. I am working on 3 palettes. The one I rolled in last time is actually this bucket of all of my individual miscellaneous eyeshadows. I included these on my wheel because they are severely neglected. I only have 2 liquid shadows left. I have some cream, maybe 1 cream eyeshadow, a pigment, some miscellaneous single shadows in here, and I haven't used any of the motive here yet. There are 13 products in here. I will insert a picture of them laid out, which I'm going to save, and then as I use them, I will put a check mark on them to keep track for next update. They're severely neglected in my collection, and then even after getting rolled into a project, I still haven't used them, so that is completely my bad. I am going to use them, and I'm going to use them being in this project as a chopping block. See if I can declutter any of these as well. As a reminder, I don't declutter things unless they have a specific home to go to. I'm not going to decide I just don't want something and throw it in the garbage if it's still a perfectly good makeup product. Next I have my Ace Beauté Nostalgia palette. I had 4 more shades I needed to use in this, which I'm pretty sure was the blue, this hot pink, the magenta, and the pink shimmer, and I did one look with all of those, maybe one of the purples as well. Now I can't remember. I did purple, pink, and blue in one look to complete my No Pan Left Behind. So I have officially used all of the shades in this palette, and I even used these 2 here 2 times. I really do love this palette. I think the quality is really great and the color story is fun. It's definitely matte heavy. There's only 3 shimmer shades in here, but I pulled this in winter, so it was a bit tricky for me to use. It was in this project for quite a while, but this will be rolling out. And the third palette I have in No Pan Left Behind is my ColourPop Smoke and Roses palette. I hadn't used this at all last time I updated you, and I have now, thankfully, but this is a 30 pan palette, so it is going to take quite a lot of time. I'm going to give you my quick thoughts for a moment, and then I'll go through which shades I have already used. In my doing No Pan Left Behind, I have discovered that there is an alarmingly few number of pink mattes. There's a lot of these really cooler toned, they're all rosy toned, but there's so many pinky shimmers in here, and only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is more purple, but we'll say 6 pink mattes. So I found that I wish there was more mattes in this palette. There's a lot of shimmers. They're all different. I mean, they're similar enough that they are a little bit redundant, but that's just what you get with these giant palettes. But when I am doing No Pan Left Behind, I'm finding okay, I'm going to reach for this shimmer and maybe this shimmer today, but I need to use the same mattes I have been using, if that makes sense. So it has been a little bit tricky in that sense. Alright, let's go through these shades that I have actually used. I have used Attraction and Faithfully on this first row. On row number 2, I have used On Call in the shade Alone twice On Call Once, Alone Twice. On row number 3, I have used Love Hurts, Part-Time, and Romance. Row number 4, I have used Look at Me 2 times, Pretender once, and Angel Eyes once. And on the bottom row, I have used Spun Around, This Guy, and Whisper 1 time each. So I have used 13 of the 30 eyeshadows so far. This goes really well with one of the eyeshadows I'll be sharing with you in Project Level Up that I'm not focusing on yet, but I will be. So I'm really not that concerned about it. It's just a large palette, and I did expect it to be in the project for a little while. And it's very springy, so I'm actually quite happy to keep this in. I have 17 more shades to use. So we do have one palette we need to roll in for No Pan Left Behind, but I'm going to wait to roll palettes in at the end of the video. We are going to hop into Project Level Up now. My level 1 palette is the Odin's Eye Hella palette. Yes, I am still working on this. I am not very proficient at panning eyeshadow, if you will. It takes me a long time. I'm going to pop in a clip of what this was looking like last month and what it is looking like today, and I hope you are able to see that I finally did hit my pan in the shade Double Sided. I ended up having to use this shade 32 times while in this project. I used it both on my entire lid many times as well as my inner corner. I was very shocked that it took that much use, and for weeks now, probably for the last 12 uses or so, I have felt like, okay, I'm so close, I'm so close. Tomorrow will be the day, but I finally hit pan on this today, and I'm so excited. While I always say, oh, I'm not very good at panning eyeshadow, I feel like that's okay for me. I'm very light-handed with my makeup, and I would feel worse having a better pan percentage or like pan success rate, and I feel that I'm like digging in eyeshadows and wasting product. For me personally, I'm light-handed, and so that's okay with me. 32 uses, I was confident I would get there, and this is a great example of why I have that 30 uses or pan. Obviously at 30 uses with this shade, I was very close, so I just used it until I hit pan. But with something like maybe a ColourPop matte, I'm at 30 uses, and there's barely a dip started, so then I can roll it out. But that's besides the point. I'm going to insert a photo showing all of my usage on these shades, but I have been mostly, of course, focusing on this one shade I wanted to hit pan on, and I'm very happy that I did. And I've officially used this palette 50 times evenly in my collection, and that feels fantastic because this is one of my favorites. My level 2 palette is my ColourPop Semi Precious, but I did have this depotted and only have 6 shades remaining. Last update I decluttered these 2 shades because they had expired. They had basically no pigment left and muddied up my look anytime I used them. I will insert a clip of what this looked like last month and what this looks like today. So besides the obvious difference in having decluttered shades, I hope you can see that the dip occurring in this red shimmer is absolutely massive. It's obviously been my focus. I am focusing on the red shimmer and this rosy mauve shimmer shade, but they don't really go together. So with the double-sided from my Hella palette, I have been using this red. They paired really nicely together. My goal for this last time was to finally meet my 2 uses per shade in this palette, and I have officially done that. I have used all 6 shades 2 times each now, and I have used my red shimmer shade 15 times. So I'm halfway to my usage goal if I don't feel I'm going to hit pan. But the dip in there is so huge. I really feel confident that I can have pan in that for next update, which I'm so very excited about. And then I will be focusing on this rosy shade, and this is the shade I was talking about that will go really well with the ColourPop Smoke and Roses palette. I definitely had a head start going in this palette because through the depotting process I nicked quite a few of the shades, including the two that I'm focusing on. So I'm cheating a little bit with a head start, but otherwise I knew that this would take forever and I probably wouldn't be successful in actually hitting pan. But I don't know about this one. It might be a 30 user. We shall see, but I do feel confident in hitting pan in this one for the next update, which I'm really excited about. So we are rolling out a no pan left behind palette, and I do, even though I haven't hit pans in my level 2, I do want to roll in my level 3 palette. And part of the reason I've included these two projects is I'm going to roll 2 palettes into this project pan, and then I can decide which one I want for level 3 and which one I want to be for no pan left behind. I would love something seasonally appropriate, but I do feel like with the Smoke and Roses, that's pretty springy, so I shouldn't be too picky, as well as I haven't used any of my singles. And obviously I will not be rolling in any palettes that have already been in this project, as I haven't been doing it for a full year yet, and if they're already in another project, I will re-roll. Oh my gosh, I am actually quite nervous. I'm not going to screen record because it's always kind of annoying. You're just gonna have to believe me. We're gonna roll 2 palettes. Ooh. Level 3, I'm really scared of. It took me this long to get Odin's Eye Christmas Eve. That is in my project 10 uses. It took me forever to do level 1, so level 3 might take me the whole year. The Odin's Eye Merry Christmas palette, that is not in a project right now, okay. And second palette. ColourPop Mocktail. I have to choose, oh my gosh. Okay, let me go grab those. Okay, I have grabbed my 2 palettes. I had to go find the ColourPop Mocktails, which is one of these little quads. So just 4 shades, obviously, very warm red tones. I think this will be lovely coming into summer and then into fall. But we're in March right now, so I'm a little nervous. And then I have my Odin's Eye Merry Christmas palette, which I do absolutely love. The color story in here is so beautiful. I can't believe we're rolling out one Odin's Eye palette for another. This one does have 16 shades in it. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to make a choice that you maybe were not expecting. So once again, one needs to be no pan left behind and one needs to be level 3. And while this color story is more fun, I am going to choose the Odin's Eye palette for my no pan left behind. I do not want to focus on hitting 3 pans in this palette just yet. It still feels a little too new and special to me. It's not really that new, but I don't know. I'm gonna share, okay, we're gonna do no pan left behind. I'll elaborate in a moment. And then the ColourPop Mocktail, I keep telling you I'm terrified of trying to hit pan in ColourPop shadows, and yet here I am choosing a quad for my level 3. And it wasn't that 16 shades, using them 3 times each, felt intimidating, though now that I'm saying that out loud, that does seem like that would be a lot. These will work so beautifully with not only the red shimmer I'm still trying to pan, but the Super Shock shadow and Kathleen Lights I'm trying to finish off this year. And I know full well I will not hit pan in any of these shades, but using this, I can create like a full look with this and use this as a base. Doing this combo 30 times Won't get me to pan, but it will make significant progress on the single I'm trying to pan in my rolling project 10 pan. So that is like my thinking. I'm just gonna end up using this palette 30 times. And that will complete my level 3. Obviously that will have been using every shade at least 3 times and using 3 of them 30 times or to hit pan. So I'm trying to be a little more strategic and looking at everything I'm panning, not just in this project. And I know I won't hit pan on these, but I also know that they will go beautifully with the Super Shock shadow, and the Super Shock is going to last much longer than 30 uses. So hopefully this will encourage me to reach for this more often than I have been. And who knows, maybe I'll have some good dips going in there. It took me 30 uses to hit pan on the other Odin's Eye palette, so I would have had to use every shade in here 3 times and then 3 of them over 30 times. And while this looks beautiful, I'm so excited to use these greens in March and these warmer tones. Like this palette, yes, it's Christmas themed, but it's quite versatile, honestly. This doesn't go with a lot that I'm already working on, so I feel like this would be harder for me to incorporate really frequently after No Pan Left Behind, and be trying to only reach in here for 1 or 2 shades at a time and share it with the other project pans. I don't know if I'm making any sense or if I just am simply making excuses. Who knows? This is No Pan Left Behind, and I'm locking in my answer. But I am quite nervous. 30 uses on a quad. I mean, it's in my collection. It looks like I could have created this look here with this palette. So I'm just happy to be making progress in this project. That's enough rambling. My goodness, these are the 2 palettes rolling in. Let's talk about goals for next time. Goals for next time, I would love to have 1 pan showing at least in my level 2 palette. I want to have at least used all of the shades in my level 3 palette the 3 times necessary. I would like to have used a handful of these freaking singles. That would be great. And I would like to have at least used the greens. As it is March, that feels really doable. I don't know if I will be able to roll anything out. We'll just have to see how much I do my makeup in the next month, because my focus is going to be still, as we've discussed ad nauseum, hit pan in the red shimmer. That is my focus right now, and then I'll be moving on to this shade. And as I'm using this shade most days I do my makeup, I'm going to try and pair it with my Smoke and Roses palette as much as possible. I do have 17 shades to use in here, which seems a little daunting, but I'll do my best. Maybe this can be a rollout for No Pan Left Behind. We'll just have to wait and see. So that is everything for my update for this project. This project is always just really chaotic, but I have a lot of fun doing it. Let me know your thoughts on the products I have rolled in. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!